Hey everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com here with another big news update. Now, of course, this is a very politically sensitive one because we're talking about the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi. And what that means, essentially, this video, I'm not going to delve into all of the political ramifications of it because that's far too complex for me to really wrap my head around in one video. But at the same time, we are going to talk about how this relates to the wrestling world because, of course, WWE's Saudi show Crown Jewel is coming up at the beginning of November. And there have been rumours that maybe the show is going to get pulled, maybe it's going to go ahead. So we're going to work through some of those, look at some sources and see what we can find out. Also, at the end of the video, we're also going to talk about a big announcement over in NXT UK, so stick around for that. But for now, let's crack on with all of the news. So I think it's fair to say that over the past week there has been mounting pressure for WWE to pull out of the Saudi Arabia show Crown Jewel, their second big show in 2018 in Saudi Arabia after, of course, the Greatest Royal Rumble, which, let's be honest, was a strange show. I'm assuming, obviously, the WWE are making a lot of money off these sort of shows because a lot of people were baffled by it, not just because it just felt like a big house show in a huge arena in Saudi Arabia or a huge stadium in Saudi Arabia, but baffled because of all of the pro sort of Saudi Arabia rhetoric. It seemed as though WWE had really close ties with the Saudi government, and a lot of people commented that it almost felt like a tourist advert for the wonderful nation of Saudi Arabia. Now, obviously at the minute, the Saudi Arabian government are not the most popular government around because of the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi, who went missing in Turkey when he was on his way to the Saudi consulate. So people seem to be implying that he was killed inside of the building. Turkey seemed to think that way, Turkey authorities, and Saudi Arabian authorities have come out and said this is completely untrue. But then rumours have, of course, surfaced that he may have been killed on order of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, which would obviously be disastrous for WWE because they've essentially got into bed with that very same person. So pressure has been mounting and mounting and mounting for WWE to scrap the Crown Jewel show or even hold it somewhere else. I've seen a few people floating around online saying that it should be held in the UK, that it should be a big UK event. And while I personally enjoy that, I don't know if I've just been seeing a bit more bias because obviously being from the UK myself, I see a lot more UK tweets. Maybe there's been suggestions from all around the world. However, this weekend, both David Bixenspan of Deadspin and Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter seem to have gone against the sort of stories that were initially implying that WWE were going to pull out. There were stories that the talent didn't want to go, but management still did. But if the talent, all united, then they'd have to pull out and all this sort of thing. These recent developments seem to imply that the show is going ahead, but then again, there are still a few weeks until that show, and those few weeks are going to be a very long time when we get to the end of it. But for now, here's the long and short of it. This all was sort of provoked when people noticed that WWE had taken details down, or appeared to take details down, of the Crown Jewel show from WWE.com. Since then, after obviously massive speculation that they were going to pull the show because ticket information links had been taken down and that sort of thing, David Bixenspan of Deadspin came out and said that he'd contacted a source in WWE and said, what's going on? And the source had come back and said to him that apparently this was a mistake. The whole thing about Crown Jewel being taken off the website, that was a total mistake, and that we shouldn't look at it as any more than that, and that seems to imply that the show's going ahead. Then Dave Meltzer took to Twitter and said that the show is indeed going ahead, and that is the direction of WWE right now. So it's a very complex issue, of course, one which stretches far beyond the world of professional wrestling. In fact, the whole pro wrestling side of it, I think, is just one very minor piece of the puzzle. But at the same time, we are a wrestling news website, and I sort of want to give my opinion here. I think that for all intents and purposes, it does seem as though the show is going to go ahead, but my opinion is that these next few weeks are going to be a very changing time. I reckon attitudes will continue to change. I think that people's opinions are going to continue to change. And I honestly, if I had to put money on it, I think the pressure is going to continue to mount unless further developments come out in the case and clear the name of the Saudi government. I think that WWE may well not go ahead with the show. I certainly wouldn't consider it a lock, not by a long shot. That's going to be really strange as well because obviously Shawn Michaels came out of retirement for this show. He's going to be, in theory, tagging with Triple H against Kane and Undertaker. And if he's come out of retirement and that's not going to go ahead, then where is it going to happen? Is it going to stretch out until WrestleMania? It's really hard to see what is going to happen if that show does indeed get scrapped. But let's know what you think in the comment section down below, but just as it relates to wrestling, of course, because this is a very, very complex world issue, of course. Also, in more cheery and more simple news, NXT UK have revealed a new set of tag team championships. I'll get Sam to flash up a picture of them there. They're bloody lovely, they are. Look at them. I think personally that they're a bit of a throwback So the sort of Attitude Era days, it's reminding me of the old tag team titles from like 2000, maybe the Intercontinental title around that time as well. I like the gold and the blue. I think it's a very nice pair of tag team titles. I think the favourites at the moment to become the first set of champions are probably Mustache Mountain, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. But at the same time, maybe WWE are going to use that to their advantage. Our whole, I guess, expectation of those two guys to win those titles could be subverted. We could see maybe the Coffees hold the titles, or another tag team that maybe hasn't even been established yet. So that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching this news video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to Jack the Jobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic. And don't forget as well to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never forget, of course, to hit subscribe and to join us.